Okay, tonight we're going to talk about the economic stimulus package. Don't go away! Don't go away. This is going to be a lot of fun. It's really going to be a good conversation. We're hearing that the economy needs a stimulus. We need to pump money into the economy to get things rolling again, to get us out of the doldrums that we've been in for the past year or more. A lot of economists say that we need this kind of spending to bring the economy back. On the other hand, there are a lot of people who are saying this is just full of pork. This is way too much spending over a period of time with all the interest that goes along with the almost $800 billion that Congress is going to be voting on tonight. It's going to come out over the years to be several $1 trillion on top of the trillions that we've been spending in the Middle East, in Iraq and Afghanistan, the war on terror, and various other things. Holy mackerel, what is going on? Is this good or bad? Frankly, I don't think we really know, but we can talk about it, and we can talk about how it's going to be affecting us too, because this is going to be affecting the budget in Pennsylvania, and even in your municipality, there are going to be effects of this, good and bad, I suspect, and we're going to talk about that with a couple of great guests tonight. Glen Meakem is back. He's the principal of Meakem Becker Venture Capital, and he also has his radio show on 104.7 on Saturday mornings. Is that right?
Yeah, Saturday and Sunday morning.
And Sunday. Okay. Glenn, thanks a lot for being here. I appreciate it.
Thanks, PJ. Great to be here.
And we have from the southern part of Allegheny County, David Levdansky. He's from Elizabeth, PA. He's a Democrat, Pennsylvania State Representative, and chair of the House
Finance Committee.
House Finance Committee. So you're a good man to have here. You're going to be talking about how this is going to be affecting the state and some of the municipalities as well. And your district covers the southeastern part of Allegheny County.
Well, the southern part of Allegheny County, the Mon Valley from Clairton, Elizabeth forward, South Park, Jefferson, and then I go and pick up the northeast corner of Washington County.
Okay, we should have a coin flip here, because I'm going to ask each of you to summarize in a minute or so your feelings about the economic stimulus package that we've been talking about for, way too long, I guess. I didn't flip the coin, so I'm going to pick Glenn first. What the heck? Well, you're pretty good at starting fires, so give us about 2 minutes worth of what your thoughts are.
This economic stimulus package is, or I've heard it called the porculus package, but it's not a stimulus at all. I mean, there's a number of problems. First of all, Keynesian economics. John Maynard Keynes, the whole idea that the government can borrow a lot of money, spend it on public works projects, welfare, whatever else, and that will grow the economy. That was proven not to work in the 20th century. Did not work in the 1930s in America, didn't work in the 1970s in America, didn't work in the 1990s in Japan, didn't work in Britain, didn't work in Russia. I can go on. The bottom line is fiscal stimulus this way. This is not a way to jumpstart an economy. That's number one. Number two, this is very delayed. There's only about $100 billion of construction, infrastructure, and tax cuts in this plan. Those are things that could be considered stimulative. I think there could have been, President Obama could have had a compromise, truly bipartisan plan, had he stuck to the real stimulus. The problem is there's $100 billion of construction and tax cuts for business and things like that, and for individuals. And then there's like $700 billion of just added government spending. And and we already spend, last year we spent $2.7 trillion in our federal budget. This is just add-ons to food stamps, add-ons to welfare. And then finally, and so it's just more government spending. And then the other problem with it is there's all kinds of bad social policy slipped in. So tonight when Congress votes and when the president signs this weekend or next week, we're going to eliminate welfare reform. Welfare reform from the 90s is gone this weekend from America. The medical records, this electronic medical records thing, they are in law now, is a provision that not only are your records, PJ, going to be digitized, but the government's going to check your records. They're going to be able to see everything that's going on, and they're going to approve. They're going to be able to check and see whether they like the procedures your doctors. So it's just the whole thing is old thinking, turning back the clock. The change is backward, not forward, and it's a disaster.
Let me ask David to weigh in on this. What are your thoughts on the thing?
Our country is in the midst of an economic calamity, the likes of which we haven't seen since the Great Depression. That was before probably any of us were born.
What do you mean probable?
Well,
just because I have gray hair. Come on, baby.
Okay. And it's a complicated economic situation that we're in. It's going to take a combination of a fiscal policy and monetary policy in order to address the complex nature of the problems that we have. And for those that would say that $790 billion of a stimulus plan is too big, where were they a couple months ago when we decided to spend $700 billion on toxic toxic assets of financial institutions and banks and investment banks and whatnot. That's $700 billion of a monetary policy correction that we're trying to undertake. $350 billion under President Bush, and now $350 million under President Obama. Hopefully we'll get this right. And then on top of all that, there's $2.5 trillion. Dollars that are likely going to be printed by the Federal Reserve and invested in these failed financial institutions. $2.5 trillion. And frankly,
so all of this is good. This is going to stimulate the economy.
You know,
this is going to.
I think, you know, I fall down on the side, PJ, of doing nothing isn't a choice. You could talk about, you know, the mix and should there have been more on infrastructure and a little less here or a little less there. But frankly, when the Republicans took the position that they were going to put any votes up, they essentially walked away from negotiating any changes to this plan. So the Democrats, pretty much with the exception, I think, of a few Republican senators, have essentially written and crafted a bill, you know, based on the consensus of the Democratic caucus. So all I'm saying is you've got 790.
That's not remotely
I'll tell you what, we have a sense now of how of the layout on how you guys feel about it. Let's get into a few more details in a few minutes. We're going to take a short break, and we're going to be right back in a moment. Stand by.